I am not going to tell you don't do it, ever. I'm not going to tell you that it's stupid, ever. It's whatever you want to do and you're happy with. Hello, I'm the Bun and welcome to the channel. This is the 411. This is a show where we talk about your comments and your questions. Today's comment topic for the 411 is short baritones. If you're new to the channel, you may not know that we talk about longer baritones, 27.5 and longer, usually more like 28 and longer, because we're trying to solve the problem of going beyond low A, going down to G and beyond. We get a lot of comments and questions about higher low tunings such as B, C, and etc. Or doing the opposite, trying to get these super low tunings with really short guitars. This comment was left on the 2019 six-string baritone roundup video, and this comment comes to us from King Posey.
You missed 4 readily available guitars. Geared for Music in Europe sells Sub-Zero Paradigm, Dean Icon, Supero Westbury, and Supero Hampton baritones. Love the channel, by the way. Gonna pick up a G5265 hopefully this Monday. Cheers.
King Posey, how are you? I hope all is well, man. I hope you're having an awesome day. Paradigm, 27-inch scale guitars, and the Superos are 26.75, I believe. Yeah, 26.75 inches in scale. And they're just too short for what we're trying to do here on this channel. We're talking about going to low G and beyond. And those scale lengths, they just don't do it in a very good way. There's too many problems. If you just increase the scale a little bit, you get way better results. If you're new to the channel and you haven't been able to snoop around enough and check out what's going on, channel is definitely about going lower than A and trying to solve the problems that come with tuning down to G and lower than G. We definitely cover 27.5. I feel like 27.5 is right on the edge of kind of doing G. It does G okay. It's still sharp at the 12th, but yeah, it works mostly. It depends on you. It depends on what you're trying to do with the guitar and what your end result is that you're going for. There are bands that are using Gibson scale guitars to go lower than G, and they want that sloppy, gross sound. There is a sound that comes with this super short guitar tuned extremely low. There's a sound to it that some people really want. So these guitars are a little too short for the channel, but I'm sure these guitars are great. They get quite a bit of mention in the Baritone Obsessed Facebook group. Maybe in the future, we'll expand the channel to include a wider range of baritone guitars for higher tunings. But yeah, the channel's all about going down to G and lower, so. This comment comes from a previous episode of the 411, Fake Lows, Tweaking, All Wound, and Higher. And this comment is from Neil Finch.
You need to review the Solar baritone. Just saying.
Neil, how are you? I hope all is well. The Solars, yeah, they're great guitars. They're amazing guitars. They're really short for their baritones that are 26.5 inches in scale. Ola's doing an amazing thing with that company. Extremely high quality instruments for the price. I would love to see a 28 from Solar. People would go crazy for a 28, at least all the baritone obsessed people. My pal Nick Hill has a standard 25.5 inch scale Solar and with the Evertune, and he loves it. He tunes it down to C and low B, and it works pretty great for that. I imagine with the 26.5, if you're doing a B or whatever, it's probably even better because 26.5 for B is amazing. I did a video a little while back about the Ibanez RGR 621XW. The names are so hard to remember for Ibanez, some of them. RGIB is like super easy, but yeah, the Ibanez 26.5 was a really nice guitar. It was a little short for A, but it worked. It was a bit sharp at the 12th fret, but I made it work, and all the notes were kind of short notes anyway, so you can't even tell. But 26.5, too short for the channel, man. This comment was left on the baritone neck conversions video, a 411 video as well. And this comes to us from River City Mike 76.
What about using a hip shot fan fret bridge to compensate the low E string into a B tuning. I have a 25.5 scale length axe. Would this work even though it would have a 1/2 inch difference on the low E string?
River City Bike, how are you, man? I hope all is awesome and you're having a ripping day of riffs and all that cool stuff. I totally understand the thinking of using a compensating bridge like that, using a fan fret bridge to get more intonation length. But the problem with this is that the 12th fret position ends up not being in the right place. The 12th fret, which is right here, it needs to be halfway between the nut and the bridge. You have a finite amount of compensation in the bridge saddle. If you go too far back, you'll have tuning problems pop up in other areas of the guitar. Unfortunate, it'd be amazing if it was really easy and we could do these kinds of hacks and it just made sense and it worked. If you use the bridge that you're talking about to try and compensate for the shortcomings of the 25.5 inch scale guitar, you're gonna have a whole bunch of other problems and the guitar will not tune at all, which is such a bummer, I know, but I definitely do not recommend using this fan fret bridge. All of that being said, if you're only tuning to B and you're on a 25.5 inch scale guitar, 25.5 does B pretty darn good. I have a 25.5 inch scale RG and I have it tuned to B half of the time. Could it be better? Yeah, it could be 26.5 or 27 and B would be even better. This comment was left on the super low strings video, and this comes to us from Julian Nazario.
My question will always be, how does Lee Malia from Bring Me the Horizon set up his guitar to play in drop G, and even tunes up to C standard with that gauge? I just don't get it. How does that even work? But I feel like the tension is so much in C standard with that gauge that the neck will literally bend or something will break. Please help. He uses a Gibson Les Paul.
Julian, man, I hope all is awesome and yeah, you're just ripping it up today. 24.75 Gibson Les Paul with, he's got an 80 and he's going down to G and maybe even lower, I don't know. You can do it all you want. If that's what you want to do with your guitar and you're satisfied with the results, then that's the right thing to do. I am not going to tell you don't do it, ever. I'm not going to tell you that it's stupid, ever. It's whatever you want to do and you're happy with. What this channel is about is trying to solve those problems in a really great way where you get absolutely no problems, where you can achieve G and or lower easily without an enormous setup problem or anything like that. So with Lee's setup, there's a number of videos with the tech, his personal tech, on record saying, yeah, it took me a long time to figure out how to work with this tuning and this setup. And I constantly have to adjust the truss rod. He's playing the low stuff really low, 0 through 4 or 0 through 5. And then any of the higher chords, he's picking up on the higher strings. So, and I think it's a drop tuning. So the rest of the guitar is slightly higher than it would be if it was G standard, low G standard. But anyway, I think it was a rig rundown where the tech was interviewed about Lee's setups and all that kind of stuff. I'll try and find it again and put the link in the description if you want to check that out. You're gonna have to find what works for you and what you're happy with, and whatever that is the right thing to do. Don't let me or anybody else tell you that you should do something else. I'm just here to give you, a wider scope of thinking about these kinds of things and other things to consider. And if you are having problems like the ones that I'm talking about, maybe there are some solutions on this channel to help you out. But yeah, if you're not really having problems and it's working for you, go for it. If you're celebrating for the holiday season, I hope that you celebrate safe and that, you have a great time. If you're not celebrating, I hope still that you and yours are well and that you're staying warm. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, you're probably enjoying beautiful summer weather. Be stoked, spread the stoke. If you're wanting to get involved more, there are two places that you can do that. That would be the Facebook group, the Baritone Obsessed Facebook group. baritoneobsessed.com gets you there. Get to answer the questions to get in. If you don't answer the questions, you don't get in. The second place would be Patreon. Patreon is very close for all of you who are helping out at Patreon with music downloads and music streams and with merch sales. I really appreciate it. It really helps. I've noticed a lot more of that in recent months, and yeah, it's a big deal. Thank you very much. For those of you who don't know what Patreon is a platform that allows you to support the works of artists, support the works of creators, of makers. So I guess I'm most of those things, and I have a Patreon, and there are people who help me out there. If you'd like to get involved, if you like what's happening on this channel and you're like, yeah, I want that channel to get bigger, I want that channel to do more. If you want to get involved, the links are down below in the description. It is highly appreciated. At the end of every episode, you'll notice I run credits of co-producers, and the co-producers are $5 and up patrons. For $5 patrons and higher during your pledge period, you will get a co-production credit. Thank you so much. Thanks for hanging out in this video, and I hope to see you in the next video.